What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I, of course, am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having a great start to your weekend. It's 10 o'clock. It's been a long damn Friday for me, but it's nice to finally sit down and we're going to talk a little bit about the birds. So thanks for taking time, guys. If you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to throw them my way. Energy's rolling through the roof. I've had such a long day, but I'm getting pumped up putting this show together. Just thinking about this team. Every day we talk about it. I just really get more and more excited. So one of the biggest question marks seems to be the outside cornerback, and that's rightfully so, right? We talked about this last year. Sidney Jones or Sewell Douglas both let go, and then you have Avonte Maddox outside. Yeah, well, not only was that horrible, Nickel Roby-Coleman, that did not go well either. So things just kind of fell apart. Darius Slay, it was great to have him. Obviously, he had some tough matchups in there, but we definitely needed an overhaul there. Didn't get too much of one. So there's a lot of question marks here, guys. And, I want to talk about it tonight, but let's just look at the cornerbacks we have right now. Um, Obviously, this doesn't make you feel too comfortable. I like some of the promise of these young guys. I love the draft pick of Zach McPherson. I think I was intrigued by the trade for Josiah Scott, bringing in Nate Meters, bringing in guys that are going to compete for the nickel cornerback position, where I feel Avonte Maddox should also be. But I regress. Then you have other guys, Kevon Seymour, Michael Jacquet. Those are the guys that are really your outside corners. Craig James is really your special teamer. Graylin Arnold, he can help you as a nickel corner. Free safety, Levert Hill, Shaquille Taylor. I mean, we've talked about this for months upon months. We got Zach McPherson in the draft, and I think a lot of people, were pretty upset, not their prototypical outside corner. For me, I think he has the size that he could play outside eventually. That's one of the things I like about him. He can play inside, outside, zone, man. I think the dude's got such great playmaking abilities that, we haven't seen a lot of turnovers the last couple of years. And, we'd like to see some pick sixes, we'd like to see some touchdowns on defense, really some game-changing players. And I think Zach McPherson's going to grow into one of those guys. But I think some veteran corners here would really help, someone like him not having to get thrown into the fire, because I don't want Avonte Maddox on the outside. I think Avonte Maddox would be good as your fourth, fifth corner, your defensive back, a guy that can help at free safety as well. He's versatile, but at certain matchups for him, I'm not really excited about him, and I don't want him outside. I think you've got the talent where you could maybe have him starting inside and then allow McPherson to grow into that role, if that's what you want, and then eventually maybe outside if he's that good. If he can play outside, we'll see. I have no idea what he's going to look like, but a lot of question marks here. So one of the guys we've been talking about forever and ever here is Steven Nelson, right? I think that's obviously something I don't think I could talk about anymore. He's somebody the day he was let go, we talked about. I think he'd be a great cornerback too, the right cornerback. He would fit in perfectly and do all those things that you said. So we've talked about him over and over again. I had a list from that show. There was definitely some guys out there. Nelson, Sherman, Amukamara. I think he's kind of washed up at this point. Conley, that's intriguing. There's guys like Gaines and Sims out there. I think it's Steven Nelson for me. That would be the guy I would be most intrigued by. So I thought tonight we're going to get into, the question mark, of, what are the Eagles going to do? And will the Eagles add another cornerback? So there's definitely been some chatter, some trade talk, some signing talk. So we're going to get to the bottom of what, the Eagles actually have the capability of doing. Because some people, I have seen the chatter out there that, don't feel that, the Eagles could do this, that, the other thing, because of cap situations, whatever it is. But we're going to get into that. So I welcome all questions, comments. Thank you guys for taking the time this Friday night. That's a pretty fashionable do-rag he's got there. We always die laughing talking about it. But, dude, let's be real. These guys, I don't give a shit what they look like. I want to see how they play. And Craig James is not the guy I want to see outside starting anywhere. So we talked about Steven Nelson over and over again. I can't say it anymore. We know the difficulty there is with he wants more money. He wants around $4 to $5 million. We're offering around three. People, get a little misconstrued about what the cap is going to look like. We had that show the other day. Go ahead, check it out, where, how the last rookie signing is going to affect the salary cap. Landon Dickerson, you'll see here, this is the cap we're going to have after Dickerson signs, $3,996,831. And you can actually, you have to look at the cap number. People, I think, get misconstrued as to what happens when someone signs. They're thinking, oh, 4 or 5 million, we can't do that. But that cap number is not going to be that much. If we can get his cap number under 2 million, like we did for Flacco, Wilson, dude, everybody we talked about, Ant Harris, those are great signings. Kerryon Johnson under $1 million, Andrew Adams under $1 million. So these are all good signings. If you could add him, and then he just replaces that 51st person on the roster, because obviously the top 51 contracts are what affects the salary cap. So you have the money. You could do it right now. You don't have to get rid of Zach Ertz. That's obviously a discussion we've talked about a lot. You could save us $8.5 million. That's obviously a lot of cap room. We could definitely do a lot with that. We'd take on a little bit more dead money that would put us over 50 million. We'd have about 53.5 million in dead money this year. That's insane. But we talk about next year having around 40 million in cap space. So that is fantastic. But this could all be played into the trade talk we're going to talk about. Maybe we don't find a trade partner, whatever it is. We've talked about Ertz. We've talked about Steven Nelson. There's a lot that's been talked about. So I saw Greg Cassell had said today, apparently, the question everybody's been asking, are the Eagles interested in Richard Sherman? A lot of people want to know because they still think he's got some. I think he'd be a great veteran to teach these guys. I'm not sure how much he has left in the tank, but, still put up some pretty decent numbers the past few years over there in San Francisco. Obviously, balled out in Seattle. We all know about the Legion of Boom. They are going to go down in history. But, we know what Richard Sherman is all about, dude. Look at, he's got the tackles, he's got the interceptions, the pass breakups. I mean, 99 pass breakups in those 7 seasons in Seattle. That's pretty wild. It's got some forced fumbles in there, some touchdowns. He does it all. I wouldn't be against it. I'll be real with you. So I think when you bring up these veteran guys like Steven Nelson, Richard Sherman, those are the two for me that are at the top of the list. If you're going to sign someone, and I believe that, people are just a little misconstrued about how the cap works and everything, where they don't think we can do it. We can, we're just not doing it. We're not coming to terms with these people right now. So we have to get a deal worked out, and it can be done in the next couple of weeks because training camp's coming. So we talk about the fact that maybe we wait. Talk about Ertz, maybe there's some value there if somebody gets hurt on a different team and then a team needs a tight end. Talked about teams that need tight ends already, the Bills. And so, I mean, there's a lot going on here, guys, but we just got to stay patient. It's going to be a lot of fun. Howie Roseman is always wheeling and dealing here. And dude, it gets me excited. I'm pumped for the off season. And Gary and Conley. Exactly, John. I'll be real with you. I wouldn't be against that either. I think that would be a decent addition. We're going to talk about somebody today that would be obviously less intriguing than Gary and Conley, you'll see. But there's definitely some guys that I think Jonathan Gannon, is going to be great as a defensive coordinator. He obviously is going to help us in the secondary, which we need dearly. So, but you got to have players, obviously. So he'll help these young guys, but we have a lot of those nickel little guys. And let's be real here. We need a bigger outside corner, and it's not really just about size. It's about how they play, and we just don't have that guy right now. So Conley would be all right if we could, hopefully bring him around, but I don't know if I think Steven Nelson would be perfect for me. Richard Sherman, even, I would take those two over Conley, but I would not be against Conley, probably coming down to money right now. So we'll see. What is going on? I'm feeling trippy. I'm tired as hell. I obviously was out a few days there with whatever hell was going on with my head and ear. crystal blah, who cares? I still, when I got off yesterday, my God, my right ear was ringing, and it was the left side that was missing. I'm like, oh, Jesus, give me a break. But who cares? We're back here. We're talking birds, and that's what makes me happy. So what's going on, Trippy? I hope you're having yourself a great Friday night. Let's talk some birds. We're talking about the cornerback position right now, talking about some possibilities. Just mentioned Steven Nelson, just mentioned Richard Sherman. What's going on, my man? Primetime Steven in the building. Dude, I'm pumped up this Friday night, and I'm pretty beat street, but I was getting excited to get on here and talk. So let me know how you guys are feeling about the cornerback position. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Truly don't care what it is. You know how it goes. Just let me have it. But right now, we just talked about Sherman, talked about Nelson. That's something, obviously, we've been talking about. We have the money. We can sign him. I don't know who is telling people that we cannot sign these guys, but we can. It's possible because we have the money, and I just explained it, and I have a couple shows out there that are explaining it, and it's like, look, that is not what's going on here. It's not because we don't have the money. Zach Ertz is not the reason. Zach Ertz will be moved when he needs to be moved, and we talked about yesterday, if he needs to stick around and, we don't find the right move, we'll see if he holds out, so it's on him. We'll see. He wants more money, and obviously we don't want to give it to him. So it's an intriguing situation we have ourselves in, and we'll see if we can find the right trade partner. But for now, let's see if we can maybe package him in here. Maybe some guys, we talk about signing. Why not, talk about, could the Eagles trade for a cornerback rather than just signing one? And look, there's been a lot of chatter. You guys have thrown the names out there. Stephon Gilmore, Xavien Howard, two top dogs that I would literally lose my mind if we could get them. I think Xavien Howard and Stephon Gilmore will find themselves getting paid. I think that's what they ultimately want, and they want to stay there. The Dolphins got some talent there. Obviously, Byron Jones and Needham aren't as good as Xavien Howard, but I think, he deserves the money. He's pretty damn good. So we'll see what happens there. But I don't know if those two are really realistic for me, and they could be. But the Patriots don't really need a tight end right now. The Dolphins have Gesicki. I know that. I really don't see it right now for us to make a move for any of those guys with the way our cap is. And look, we could save $8.5 million in cap space, but right now I'm not focused on that. You saw I threw Jimmy Smith up there. We're going to talk about some names here in a second. So I mean, there's a couple guys I think we could trade for. So I picked three that, I was looking at some of the depth charts for other teams and just kind of looking at, who has an abundance of corners or maybe, just something going on with the corner. And yeah, let's get into that in a second here. I would sign Nelson and that's the thing we've talked about. You could sign multiple guys. I just explained to the fact, look, if you can sign these guys just like you did with all the other free agents we just mentioned in Flacco and Harris, and you see their money, like, oh, they're making $5-6 million. No, look at their cap. That's what we're looking at right now. And when their cap actually affects it, you just replace that with a bottom number. So you're actually just replacing 850,000. So you deduct that off that cap hit. So if you get them under 2 million and you take off that 850,000, you're only looking at over $1 million in a cap hit. So you're still just a little under 3 million. You still got space. You could add a KJ Wright at linebacker. You could add another cornerback in Gary and Conley, Richard Sherman. Add Sherman and Steven Nelson. I don't give a shit. Now, probably not going to do that because they both probably know they want that outside role. Fine. One or the two, and then add Conley. I don't care. Add these guys. But let's talk. We just mentioned, you saw Jimmy Smith there. Talk about him in a second here. All for Nelson. Hope they can make that happen. Does he want more money? Yes. The problem with him is that he wants around 4 to 5 million, and that's not a problem with him. That's business, man. Get your money. But he is obviously wanting around $4 to $5 million, and we are not wanting to give him that. We're wanting to give him around 3. But I mentioned earlier in the video, giving him 4 to 5 million on his contract doesn't mean that's the cap hit. If we can get the cap hit under 2 million, then we're good. So give him a deal. Maybe they can come to the middle and 3.5, 3.75, and then his cap hits around 1.5, and then you replace that with the 850,000. Then he only costs you around 750,000 of a cap hit. Hell yeah, still have 3 million. I mean, let's go, baby. You could definitely add some guys here, and let's talk about the trades though. We've been talking about signing, but there's some guys I definitely think. Jimmy Smith obviously was just pictured there, so let's talk about him first. Baltimore Ravens. they have an abundance of corners: Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, and then Taven Young and Anthony Averett stepped in last year and actually did pretty well. And let's be real here; they just do damn well with defense in Baltimore. So let's keep it real. They could, obviously trade Jimmy Smith, but obviously they could keep him around. He's pretty damn good. But I think he's kind of fallen off the last year too. But dude, I think he would be perfect. Somebody that Jonathan Gannon could definitely use in his defense. And then you have guys at the bottom of the barrel there. You see Harris, Marshall, Dorsey, Westry. These are all guys that are just competing. But Sean Wade, Ohio State, we talked about. I was not too high on him. But, hey, they added someone else to the mix. So that kind of makes it, more where he's more, I think, I don't know if he's expendable. I just really think that Jimmy Smith's really good. I think he is a seriously Pro Bowl talent, but they don't need a tight end. They don't need someone like a Zach Ertz. I think where I'm thinking they love that pass rush. They've got guys that are a little bit older. Calais Campbell's getting up there. Pernell McPhee. I know they've got other guys. Derek Wolfe, I think, is there now. So, look, they've got the talent, but maybe you could move a Derek Barnett. Maybe convince them of that. And I know they've got Mark Andrews and Nick Boyle, but I think Lamar Jackson would definitely benefit with the Zach Ertz. So maybe you could convince him, one of those players, maybe make a move there. So I think of Jimmy Smith. He can play inside. He can play outside. I don't know if he's necessarily the guy I'd want, but he'd be much a bigger upgrade than, what we did, so far this offseason. So I think Jimmy Smith would be a good option for me. Now, the guy I was talking about earlier in the video was somebody that obviously isn't a great corner. He was a first-round pick a few years ago, but has not done anything for the Green Bay Packers. But this team is loaded with corners. And look, I'd love to have some of these other guys, but this guy, he was inactive while healthy at the end of last year. So you can see how he's fallen off there. So they've got a new coordinator there. So we'll see what they do. But you've got Jair Alexander, Kevin King. We all, if you guys remember Chandon Sullivan, I was so pissed when we let him go. And now he's starting over there in Green Bay. Added Eric Stokes from Georgia. That was a great pick for them. I really liked him. Fast as hell. So fast as hell guys all over Green Bay. We'll see. But Josh Jackson, I think he could definitely be somebody the Eagles trade like a 7th round pick or something and then make him swap, give us a 6th or 7th and him. I obviously don't even know this guy makes the roster. He probably gets cut. So not something you would have to trade for, but maybe it's an option where you're just trying to get somebody before camp and he's somebody you could definitely buy low and it could be a high reward there. I really think that Jonathan Gannon, we've talked about, what he could do for the defensive backs here, but you could bring somebody in that maybe isn't doing so well in the scenery they're at right now. And we all know a change of scenery could help somebody. And Jonathan Gannon, we saw him with another NFC North cornerback, Xavier Rhodes, really helped his career out. So maybe Josh Jackson could come here. And hey, I'm for anything at this point. So I just thought I would pick a real weird one, a middle of the pack one with Jimmy Smith, and then one that I don't know if this isn't really that much feasible. But I was looking at the roster, and I'll be real, we already made a trade with this team. We got Josiah Scott for Jamison Houston. So I'm not so sure they're willing to make this move, but that it's Urban Meyer there now. It's a whole new regime. But I think one of the problems here for Jacksonville is you've got Tim Tebow and that O'Shaughnessy dude. What? That Tyler Davis kid, he was like the kid that was like a quarterback, then receiver, now tight end. I mean, you don't really have a tight end for, Trevor Lawrence. You got some receivers, but I would definitely think that's a team you could try to convince, hey, Zach Ertz is out there. You could really use this move, dude. And I'll be real with you. CJ Henderson dealt with some injuries last year, but look at that picture. Even right there, you could tell he is miserable in Jacksonville. So come on up to Philadelphia and find yourself a starting job. A 6-foot guy, almost 200 pounds. I think he would be perfect. You could get some value. You probably have to give up more than just Zach Ertz to get him, but maybe Urban Meyer would be willing to move on. You got Shaquille Griffin there now. Trey Herndon, Sidney Jones was stepping it up. They got Chris Claybrooks there, but what I really liked what they did in the draft was adding Tyson Campbell and DJ Daniel out of Georgia. Oh, man. We just talked about the other Georgia kid, Eric Stokes. Now we're talking about Campbell and Daniel. Oh, man. Those are some really nice picks. So it makes CJ Henderson expendable. I think we could. Oh, man. I would love this. When I was looking at it, I was really getting excited thinking about it. You really could package Ertz, something else, maybe Derek Barnett too. And I'm not trying to get rid of Derek Barnett, but I mean, he obviously hasn't lived up to expectations, but I'm intrigued to see what this new defense looks like. Maybe they can get the best out of him. We talked about possibly using him in a stand-up rusher role. I would be excited to see that. So I just thought I would throw out a few of those guys. So you saw it, CJ Henderson, Jimmy Smith, and Josh Jackson were the options there. Just a few, to get away from just the signing, because we've talked about the guys we would like the Eagles to sign, but I really think that there are options, and Howie is always wheeling and dealing. And, people, oh, well, we don't have this cap space, this, that, the other thing. Well, we talk about packaging things. So what can you do? Well, maybe Ertz, maybe a Derek Barnett. There's a bunch of other guys maybe you could find that are expendable on this roster, but I think we have a lot of young talent. I'm excited to see. We do have some draft picks. So let's take a gander at what draft picks we do have next year. We have all of our own picks right there. You see on the left side, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8, 9, 10. Baby, let's go. 3 more picks right there. 10 picks. You see the 1st round pick we acquired from the Dolphins for them to move up to 6. We moved back to 12. We moved that to move up to 10 to get Devontae Smith and still have that 1st round pick. The Dolphins pick. Hell yeah. Then you see that 2nd round pick there via the Colts, potential 1st. So we are hoping Carson Wentz stays healthy 70% or 75% of the time. We'll see. But I would like to just say that we are rooting for all of these teams to fail, so we have a better pick. 5th round pick, we remember in this past draft, we traded that 6th and 7th round pick, got ourselves a 5th rounder for this year. So looking at 10 picks for next year, you could definitely package a couple of those players we mentioned, a couple of these picks, and you could find yourself a nice cornerback to pair with Darius Slay, allow Zach McPherson to grow the right way, not getting thrown into the fire. But I think Jonathan Gannon is going to work some wonders here with the secondary. But thought we would just take a look at some options out there. Hope you enjoyed, but that's all I got for you tonight. If you have anything else you'd like to say before I go, please speak now. But I hope you guys are all having a great start to your weekend. You guys know if you need anything, you can always reach out to me. I will be back tomorrow unless something crazy happens early. It might be a little bit later. Got some things going on, but appreciate you guys taking the time this Friday night. Appreciate you checking me out on all these platforms. You know the drill. Appreciate you hitting that like button, retweeting, and subscribing to the YouTube channel. All that stuff seriously helps me, and I hate saying it. I really do, but I always get all these lessons. They're like, you gotta say ask for that. I'm like, I hate it. And when I watch the videos, I'm like, man, I hate it. But I appreciate you guys. I do. So I'm glad to be back. It's awesome talking birds with you. You take it easy as well. John, Trippy, Steven, everybody out there that tuned in, I appreciate all of you guys. If you're watching this later, you have anything you want to talk about, please feel free to comment. Always down to talk some birds. So whenever I see it, I will get back to you. But if you need anything, reach out. I'm going to relax a little bit and then I'll get some shut-eye. But I hope you're all having a safe night. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back tomorrow. And as always, go Birds!